Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, GSTC 2024. To open the conference, I would like to invite Mr. Alvin, Minister of State, Ministry of Trade and Industry, and Ministry of Culture, Community and Youth. Mr. Tan.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sentosa. I did not realize I was going to be just ushered here so quickly. Clearly, as I was, actually a quick story. Luigi is here, right? Let's see. Oh, he's not here yet. Well, let me start. Actually, Luigi Cabrini is an important man. I met him. I'm buying time for him. But actually, I came here quite early, and I met this gentleman just walking in the RWS Aquarius lobby. So I said, "Hi, you must be Luigi." And he said, "Well, actually, I'm here, but I have to go meet the minister." And I said, it's okay, I'm here, and we can have a morning chat." And I think his team did not realize. Luigi, please. A round of applause to Luigi. Thank you for coming to Singapore. I was just buying some time and telling our friends about our chance encounter this morning, and a very warm welcome to you, of course, Chairman of GSTC, Randy Durband as well, CEO of the GSTC, of course, my dear friend Bob Tan, who's Chairman of Sentosa Development Corporation, and of course, Tian Kui Eng, who is really very, very responsible. I call her the mayor of Sentosa, but in fact, she's the Chief Executive of Sentosa Development Corporation. And we won't be here without our gracious host, Mr. Tan Hee Teck, Chief Executive Officer of Resorts World Sentosa. But to all of our industry partners, all of our ladies, all of our guests, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a huge privilege for Singapore to host the Global Sustainable Tourism Conference for the first time. And each year, this annual conference gathers organizations and individuals who are passionate about sustainable travel and tourism. It is a crucial platform for us to exchange ideas, for us to foster partnerships, and to also inspire meaningful change to make tourism more sustainable globally. So, on that note, I would like to thank the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, GSTC, Resorts World Sentosa, Far East Hospitality, 1 Degree 15 Marina Cove, and of course our colleagues from STB, as well as the Sentosa Development Corporation for organizing this run. And to every single one of you who are attending today, especially for our friends and families and colleagues who have traveled from around the world. For Luigi, this is your first time in Singapore. You traveled from Madrid, and I'm sure many others have also traveled all around the world to our tiny island, but green island nation of Singapore. Let me start with the tourism journey that Singapore has gone through, particularly this year. And in fact, 2024 has been a rather promising year for tourism in Singapore. International visitor arrivals for the period of January to October reached 13.9 million, a rise of 23.3% over the same period last year in 2023. Tourism receipts for January to June recorded $14.88 billion, which is a 19.5% year-on-year increase. But despite also a volatile global environment and intense competition, we continue to expect a further boost to tourism. We are projecting up to 16.5 million international visitors arrival this year and about $29 billion in tourism receipts. There is also a growing trend of sustainable tourism and sustainable travelers. Many travelers are increasingly becoming aware of the impact of climate change and of their own carbon footprint. If you look at the study published by the World Travel and Tourism Council in 2023, it suggested that tourism accounts for around 8 to 11% of global greenhouse gas emissions, which is a large percentage if you factor in and consider all possible sources of emissions. And if you look at Booking.com's 2024 Sustainable Travel Report, around 75%, that means 3 out of every 4, of leisure travelers affirm the importance of traveling sustainably. And they also plan to travel more sustainably over the next year. Another report, 2023 report, from the Global Business Travel Association reports that 92% of business travelers, now this is distinct from leisure travelers, where you 3/4, 92% of business travelers and business travel professionals cited sustainability as a priority for their company. And they are looking for ways to trim the environmental impact through sustainable business travel policies. So what does this mean? What do these surveys mean for all of us? Well, clearly it represents opportunities for us to grow, develop, create products and services to help our industry operate more sustainably. We also have the opportunity to support the local community, such as by greening our existing jobs in the sector, and also we have the chance to promote local culture and heritage, something that we had discussed earlier this morning. But as we bandy about all of these terms, I thought it would be quite useful to say and ask ourselves, what exactly does sustainable tourism mean? What does it mean to our communities? What does it mean to our individuals? And what does it mean to our companies? So I thought it would be quite useful for us to explore 3 questions this morning, and you can help me. First, what is sustainable tourism? Second, how does a location become a more sustainable travel destination? And third, what does a sustainable traveler look like? You look around you, or if you look at yourself, are you a sustainable traveler? So we ask, what is sustainable tourism? How do you make a location more sustainable? And individually, what does a sustainable traveler look like? Let's start with what is sustainable tourism. Sustainable tourism can come across as a fairly broad topic and rather nebulous concept. You can't get your head around, you can't grasp it. Let's go to Luigi's former employer, the United Nations. The United Nations defines sustainable tourism as tourism that takes full account of its current and future economic, social, and environmental impacts, addressing the needs of the visitors, the industry, the environment, and host communities. So that's quite a defined definition of sustainable tourism. But if you ask a traveler, I think many will confuse sustainable tourism with other forms of tourism. For example, ecotourism. We hear that quite often, right? Ecotourism actually refers to a niche segment of tourism in natural areas. Then you also hear about the term responsible travel, which actually refers to choices and behavior by individual travelers that minimize the negative impact that they bring when they visit a particular travel destination. Well, the introduction of the GSTC criteria aims to then develop a common language for sustainable tourism and then to align that understanding globally, serving as one of the most widely accepted international standards for sustainability in travel and tourism. And today, I am pleased to announce the official launch of the GSTC attraction criteria. And this GSTC attraction criteria is developed with the support of our Singapore Tourism Board. And this is important because this is the latest set of criteria following those that we've developed for hotels and tour operators, and most recently for our MICE sector. It is also the first ever global standard specifically designed for attractions, and it provides a common understanding of sustainable practices for attractions worldwide. By supporting the development of world-class standards and providing industry with very practical tools, we are enhancing the capability of our tourism sector and also contributing to global sustainability efforts in tourism. So it's not just local, it's global. Now this GSTC attraction criteria has been published, and attractions can start certification and auditing processes in early 2026. Our second question that we're going to explore this morning is, now, how does one then become a more sustainable travel destination? Well, for one, we talked about global standards. Global standards and certifications, of course, help encourage us to adopt and provide the assurance of sustainable practices. I mean, how do you know if a particular practice is sustainable? You need to have some standards. In Singapore, we hope to demonstrate our commitment to decarbonizing our tourism footprint with clear targets on our certification levels. Let me break it down into a few bite-sized examples. For the MICE sector, we are aiming to obtain sustainability certification for all MICE purpose-built venues, and 80% of SASIOS, which is the Singapore Association of Convention and Exhibition Organizations and Suppliers, very, very long name, but it's just know that they are SASIOS, by 2025. We've been working with them for many, many years. Then we have also made good progress because 67%, over two-thirds of our MICE venues and 20% of SASIOS members have already achieved this sustainability certification. The next announcement then is that GSTC has now recognized our Singapore MICE Sustainability Certification Framework, and this makes it the first MICE standard recognized by GSTC for aligning with the GSTC MICE criteria, and that's another point to clap. Actually, the MICE sector in Singapore is a booming one. We have seen it recover very well from the COVID pandemic, and if you were anywhere here near in Singapore over the last couple of weeks, you would know that every single almost week or weekend or day, you have different MICE events just coming to Singapore. And our MICE sector has been making sure that every single event, there are sustainable practices throughout. From the MICE sector now to the hotel sector. For hotels, we aim to have 60% of our hotel room stock, including, Sentosa is always aiming for perfection, so including 100% of Sentosa's hotels, obtain sustainability certification by 2025. And to date, over 38% have already successfully achieved certification. From these hotels, we come to this hotel, RWS. RWS, where we are here today, was the first in Singapore to achieve certification for all its hotels back in 2021. And in fact, RWS holds the accolade of being the first in the world to achieve both the GSTC destination and industry criteria for hotels. So a round of applause for Sentosa and a round of applause for RWS. Now, to achieve our targets, we have been working closely with our stakeholders to decarbonize the venues and have completed carbon baselining exercises for our MICE purpose-built venues and hotels. We have extracted the learnings from last year's baselining exercise for MICE venues and also developed a first-of-its-kind MICE venue sustainability playbook, which we are also launching today. A very busy day. Yes, you can clap as well. Now, this MICE venue sustainability playbook will serve as a comprehensive guide to enhance green practices in our MICE industry. I'm also proud to share that Singapore was ranked 7th in the 2024 Global Destination Sustainability Index. We rose 10 places from 17th last year, and we are proud of our partners' efforts along this very meaningful and green journey. Ladies and gentlemen, standards and certifications are important, of course, but what's even more important than standards and certification is to have actual offerings of sustainable travel experiences that appeal to travelers so that they want to engage in these offerings. Now, many of you would have had the chance to experience sustainable tourism here in Sentosa, the first island destination in Asia to be certified with the GSTC destination criteria. The Sentosa Carbon Neutral Network has collaborated with GSTC to bring to you sustainable tours, attractions, hotels, and meals. Today's conference's menu has also been carefully crafted to use RWS's herb garden and local produce for for as much as possible. Now, if you have time to visit our southern islands, we discussed this earlier on, there is this tiny away escape at Lazarus, which is a GSTC industry certified attraction, and it also offers a fun, relaxing, and sustainable gateway. You can stay at these eco-friendly tiny homes, tiny houses, which are nestled within nature with large, full-glass windows overlooking stunning sea views. These tiny houses are innovative and sustainable ideas to allow guests to lower their carbon footprint, and they use solar energy as its main source of power. There are also many amenities and attractions nearby, leisure activities. I tried some of those, including stand-up paddleboarding, cycling, nature walks, allowing you to experience the rustic charm of Singapore's southern islands and at the same time to minimize the impact to biodiversity and the environment. I visited these tiny houses. Please put sunscreen because you go after that, it's very hot, but they're incredibly and that's why the solar power is very important. It drives them. They're very, very popular. It's almost impossible to secure a booking. That's how popular it is, but if you can, please book a stay if you haven't already. Now, my final point and the final question that we want to explore this morning is then, how does a sustainable traveler look like? Now that's you and me. How does a sustainable traveler look like? Let's think about the individual choices that a traveler makes. These individual choices that we make, especially when it comes to the end of the year when we're traveling, add up and make a huge difference to promoting sustainable tourism. If we think a little bit more about the potential impact of the trips that we are making and consider what small adjustments and small shifts that we can make, I believe we can all make a big cumulative impact. And we could start with the little things, such as our daily needs. For instance, we can choose to bring our own water bottles instead of buying bottled water, for example, very simple tip. Or choose to bring our own toothbrushes instead of using travel-friendly disposable ones. We could also, and I'm doing the pitch because I was pitched earlier on, we could also buy quality carbon credits to offset the carbon footprint from our air travel. So this is my pitch. If you have not already done so, please visit the Singapore Tourism Board's carbon offset booth outside the plenary hall to do so. Again, a pitch, you will also get this preloaded value souvenir card, which you can use for public transportation during your stay here. So please visit the booth. Yes. In conclusion, every single one of us has a part to play to promote sustainable tourism. And part of why we are here today is to exchange ideas and networks and new solutions on how we can collaborate to do so. I believe we have all what it takes to become sustainable travelers, to become a sustainable travel organization or destination, and to define the present and future of sustainable tourism. And Singapore will always journey alongside you as your dependable travel partner for sustainable tourism, as we continue to pursue our vision of a city in nature where large experiences come with small footprints. With that, I wish everyone a fruitful conference ahead. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Tan. Thank you, Minister Tan. Next, let me invite to stage Mr. Luigi Cabrini, Chair of the GSTC, to open the conference as well. Luigi.
Good morning, everybody. How are you feeling this morning? Good? Ready? Full of energy? Yes. Well, dear Minister, first of all, thank you very much for your personal welcome, the warm reception I personally had and all my colleagues. It is a great pleasure for me, as you mentioned, the first time in Singapore, and in less than a day, I already have a very, very nice feeling about this place and about these people. A distinguished guest, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, welcome to the 2024 Global Sustainable Tourist Conference, and welcome to Singapore, one of the most powerful economies in Asia, and with strong financial and industrial sectors, with tourists playing an increasingly important role. Your central location in Southeast Asia, the excellent air transport facilities, and the investment in tourism infrastructure are key assets to your country as one of the top world destinations. And a key feature, as we heard eloquently from the minister in Singapore tourist development, is the importance given to sustainability. And we are very proud and grateful for the confidence that the Singapore Tourist Board and all the other actors have relied on the Global Sustainable Tourist Council as a partner and a cooperator. It was said already, we are here in an hotel, Aquarius Hotel, which is certified against the GSTC industry criteria. The resort World Sentosa, where we are, is certified to destinations criteria and industry criteria since 21, and both Sentosa and Singapore are certified as sustainable destination. And besides all this excellent record on sustainability, I of course wish to thank you, STB and the Resort World Sentosa for the organizing this conference and having all of us here. Dear friends, at the end of this year, 24, international tourism is expected to fully recover its pre-pandemic level, with many destinations registering the highest number of visitors ever. The country where I live, Spain, has already registered in the first 9 months of 24 many more tourists than 2019. That was the pre-pandemic record year for international tourists, with a total of 1,500 million of international tourists all over the world, and the level of income has also increased. And like Spain, many other destinations have already reached more than the pre-pandemic level. Tourism is back as an essential activity, a creator of jobs, and a tool for development, providing social, economic, and environmental benefits. Unfortunately, and as I mentioned in my opening remarks last April in Stockholm, the proliferation of wars, conflicts, and human displacement cast a shadow over tourist recovery, as these represent what they call the dark side of humanity, as opposed to the values embedded in responsible tourism. In these few months, the situation has further worsened, with no clear signs of improvement in sight. We're also reminded of the consequence of climate change caused by human behavior, with natural disasters impacting our communities, as seen in the recent severe flooding in Valencia. Again, in Spain, is a terrible human loss, a lot of damages, and really tragic situation. And our thoughts are with all the people affected, and extend our solidarity to our member, Visit Valencia, who could not be here, of course, but who is a very close member of our organization. Allow me now a personal digression, because it's a bit unusual that in tourist conference we talk about wars and displacement. But I've been working over 20 years in humanitarian work with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. So unfortunately, I was confronted with what they call the dark side of humanity. But then I have a major change of my life and my career in the early 2000, and I joined the World Tourism Organization. And that was the period where there was a change in the perception of the value of tourism. Tourism was increasingly recognized at international level by the United Nations as a tool for development, as a sector that could create jobs for women, for youth, in areas where other industry could not reach, and included in the Millennium Development Goals and then the Sustainable Development Goals. And at the same time, those were years where, after the Rio Conference of 1990, there was an additional perception of the fact that the planet had limited resources and that we had to control the way we are developing. So these two movements, the development and the care for the planet, are somehow, I think, influenced the way that tourism has been developing since then. And as the minister said, how important it is for GDP. At the global level, tourism represents 10% of GDP and one every 11 jobs. So I think it is very important that all these elements are taken into account. And I think it's in this context that GSTC was created. We started our work as a small organization back in 2007. And I would say that these two aspects, development and environmental issues, are embedded in the criteria of the GSTC as they are contained in all the sets of the criteria. At GSTC, we are focusing our efforts to promote and drive a change toward more responsible, respectful, and sustainable ways of traveling. There is no magic formula, but a step-by-step approach to pursue what we define as continuous improvement. The challenges are many. The increasing situation of over-tourism, when the negative impacts are perceived by the communities where it develops as overcoming its benefits, the slow progress in reducing contribution to global warming, the working conditions in the sector, often not the best, and food waste, plastic pollution, just to name a few. It was 16 years ago, in 2008, when the GSTC created and disseminated the first version of the global criteria for hotel and tour operators. Since then, we published criteria for destinations, tourism industry, MICE, and as said by the minister, will formally launch the attraction criteria during this conference. So our aim is to create a wide, comprehensive framework and tools to the private sector and to the public sector to progress toward a more sustainable tourism by what we can say the way you can express sustainable tourism is maximizing benefits and reducing unwanted impacts in the whole tourist chain. Time has shown, in my view, that GSTC filled the gap by making available a system that can serve both the private and the public sector to achieve higher level of sustainability. Our role in establishing and managing standards is now widely recognized. And given the transverse nature of tourism and its linkages with many other economic and social activities, the global criteria are also an effective instrument to implement the Sustainable Development Goals. With support engagement of our members, we were able to develop several programs and support destinations and companies to progress toward more sustainable models. Through our accreditation program, which is the only one in tourism, we aim at multiplying the number of hotels, destinations, and other tourist companies to gain a credible certification and making them effectively competitive in the market. We maintain that tourist certification must abide by international standards, even if our sector is more complex than others, with a supply chain involving many components, such as accommodation, transport, excursion, restaurants, handicraft, food production, waste disposal, etc. Many surveys show that the demand of sustainable tourism is higher than the offer, and this is also a call to us to do more. But dispelling any doubts of greenwashing is essential to build trust and credibility. Our system provides, we believe, the assurance, and this is why many certification programs are approaching GSTC seeking accreditation. The commitment is also increasing from the accommodation side, as top hotel chain engage in pathway leading to GSTC certification. The GSTC membership continues to grow and includes tourism authorities of over 40 countries, together with leaders of the private sectors, NGO, university, destinations, and many others. We welcome this variety as a strength for GSTC, where the tourist sector is represented in its multiple faces and interests. Our organization has grown and evolved since its early days, when we were able to work thanks to the funding and support of United Nations agencies. GSTC has been able since then to gain self-sufficiency and financial independence while maintaining and integrating in its DNA the universal values of the United Nations. It was not an easy time. Kelly Brickett at that time, she was the chair of the GSTC. We received funding for the UN Foundation. We had a nice office in Washington. All the staff was paid. And suddenly, as was the policy of the UN Foundation, they give us serious money, then either you're able to survive or it's useless to continue to give you money. So we had a few difficult years in a transition from a funded organization to an organization that had to find its own resources. We were able, I think, to go through the difficult period I want to publicly recognize here the contribution that Randy Durband, the CEO of GSTC, where is sitting, Randy? He has done a great job I think he joined in 2014, and about 10 years ago. Then, of course, Kelly, and then the team grew up with Mihee, Roy, and many others. And I recall that I remember our staff at the beginning, they just received more than just a symbolical remuneration, but still the commitment was unfailing, and I think we were able to grow, and I think to become, as we are today, a respected organization. The GSTC Secretariat has grown substantially to respond to the increasing requests of support that we're receiving. And we can now count on a strong team of capable, dedicated, and committed staff. Most of them are here these days, and I invite you to get in touch for a personal acquaintance. I worked in many offices with many teams, and I must say that this team is, especially maybe, though I don't see them very often, we're all scattered around the world. We meet via Zoom, and maybe once or twice a year we meet at this conference, but I mean, it's such a great enthusiasm and commitment that is a pleasure to see them at work. So, and a big applause to the team. Oh, yes. I'm sure that all of you that have been dealing with the staff of GSTC have the same impression that I have. So let me conclude by warmly thanking STB for the exceptional organization of this event, for the warm welcome we received. As I mentioned yesterday, we have reached more than 500 participants and over 55 countries represented. So I wish you all a fruitful, engaging, active participation and wonderful time in Singapore. Thank you.
Thank you, Luigi. With that, the GSTC 2024 conference has officially started. For the next part, let us welcome Mr. Randy Durband, the CEO of GSTC, as well as Dr. Mihee Kang, the Assurance Director of the GSTC that will join shortly after him, to speak about the GSTC's global mission and current activities. Randy.
Well, good. Thank you. Luigi, I was not hiding. I was just preparing with a headset. But thank you for the kind words. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, the dignitaries. It's wonderful to be here. I think we've said all that, so let me get right to the point of our presentation. Normally at all of our conferences, I do this. I talk about our mission, our current activities. And is this coming and going? Is the audio okay? Yeah. But Dr. Mihee Kang, our Assurance Director, is going to share the stage with me this morning and talk more about some of the technical aspects because those on the move. There will not be a quiz at the end of the presentation, but I think it's really important for everybody to understand of what's happening. Yeah, I know it's cutting out. Shall I just use the podium? We're testing. Yeah, it's coming and going. How did I just switch? I like around. What should we do? Keep trying? Yeah. Let's go to, should we take this off? You want to turn it off and just use this one? Don't look. Do you have it? Yeah. Plug it, can't you? Okay. All that planning. Okay, sorry. How do I look? Okay. So anyway, There will not be a quiz at the end of Dr. Kang's presentation, but we want you to understand big picture, some of the foundational aspects, the technical aspects that we do. So let me dive right into it after that delay. For those of you who are new to us, Luigi Cabrini just gave a brief history. 2007, we were created by those UN agencies, thanks to him, at UNWTO, now UN Tourism, and UNEP, now UN Environment. And as he said, we created hotel and tour operator criteria. Later, we created destination criteria that serve two functions for guidance on public policy and also guidance on good destination management. And then we grew and grew. We merged with this tour operator initiative, a UNEP project, and we carried on. We created an Asia Pacific office to help us really globalize more strongly the movement. And then very recently, we've had the excitement of adding more criteria to reach more subsectors. So early this year, we released publicly the MICE criteria, as has been mentioned, and then formally today, the GSTC attractions criteria are now ready to go. Mihee will talk about the fact that, once you create the standard, then the work of providing guidance on good certification through accreditation is its own process. So those things will come later, so she'll describe all of that. So that's a brief history of our activities. So first and foremost, we're known for the GSTC criteria, to be the managers of global standards. And as Luigi said, they gain credibility because of that foundational aspect of staying true to the United Nations SDGs, originally the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals. That's absolutely foundational. Secondly, we think they have tremendous credibility because of the very inclusive nature that we go through to create them. We spend more than a year to create new criteria. We spend nearly a year to occasionally formally revise them, approximately every 5 or 6 years. So they're truly global because we put out a massive outreach to all 6 populated continents, to public sector, private sector, academia, NGOs, anybody and everybody. A very public consultative process so that the end result is truly a global standard because we've gone throughout the world. It's non-cultural, we're non-political, truly global standards. And thirdly, Luigi also alluded to this, is that they've just been used so broadly that they're more and more accepted by everyone throughout the industry, throughout the world as the standard. Sometimes I'm asked, well, why don't we just use ISO standards? As you're going to hear in our presentation about the technical aspects of our program, those are based on ISO standards. We believe passionately in the ISO standards program, which provides definitions of so many elements of auditing and certification and so forth. But we feel that when we were created, there weren't ISO standards for sustainable hotels. So we were the first, but we think we have a role to play to keep doing what we're doing to those criteria for a variety of reasons, again, the inclusive process. But also, we're so mission-driven that we make the GSTC criteria available in the public domain free of charge. And we think that's a critical point because something we want to imprint upon you is that quite often people think of the GSTC, they think straight away about certification. And I would challenge you and ask you to think, first of all, the value of having standards for a variety of reasons, for training and awareness. So we make the criteria available in the public domain, for free. You can download them at any time, use them in training, use them in awareness. All of our technical work is done in English. Deep, deep thought goes into the creation of each element, but we have translated them into many, many languages. And we encourage you to use those in the local languages as a means of spreading the word and the knowledge broadly. So that mission-based element of making them freely available, highly translated, highly available, we think is tremendously relevant. But then it goes beyond that because then we craft them in a program designed to use them to really apply the standards in a meaningful way. So all of them are based on the 4 pillars, as we said, is UN foundational. So each of them is arranged around these aspects of A, B, C, D. Luigi mentioned we maximize benefits and we minimize negative impacts is our goal. So all of them are based on these 4 pillars. That's the essence of who we are. Here's more of who we are. We're truly global. We now have organizational members in 87 countries. We have another 162 individual members in 53 separate countries for a grand total at the moment of 99 countries. It's been hovering around 100, but you see the distribution is tremendous. We're truly global. That is not easily done. All of our great successes have to do with a tremendous amount of volunteerism, I mean. As Luigi said, at different times in our history, we've always been resource constrained. We're stable now, but again, we give our intellectual property away for free as the GSTC criteria. So we remain a low resource organization dependent upon motivated people, motivated organizations to use us. And that's where we get our support and where we get our strength is truly global, because we believe that by having the universal tools of a common language, the minister asked this morning, what is sustainable tourism? Well, when those two UN agencies got together and they created a single sentence definition of sustainable tourism, they wanted a bigger definition and they created us. So the what is in the criteria. I'll talk more about the limits of that in this presentation. Our board of directors is globally constituted. That's not easy either. And look in Asia, we have members of our board, Japan, China, India, Korea, all over the world, a very nice distribution. Many of our board of directors are with us. This is the top row of the screen is the executive committee of our board of directors. All of them are here except, unfortunately, Yasmin with the Global Environment Fund is busy at our office in Washington. Everybody else on this first screen is here with us. And I would ask you kindly, board members, to kindly stand up and wave at the audience. Giannis, everyone, please, GSTC board members, thank you so much for your commitment. Tremendous diversity, not only in terms of geography, but they're from industry, from government, from NGOs. And so we appreciate them and count upon them deeply. And here's the rest of the board. Again, more diversity, gender. We've always done well in gender, but we have diversity of cultures, language skills, and so forth. So a fabulous board of directors. We're going to meet here in person in 2 days. Attendees, yourselves in the room, you're from all over, 55 countries, and about 500 participants. Quite remarkable. So you can see there's just tremendous distribution. Even though Singapore is far away for some, the motivation is strong to come and join us. So we do move our conferences around the world to try to give opportunities. And then we do a strange thing. We announce future ones very far in advance so that organizations with multiple locations can send people there and plan and join us. And a bit more about you as attendees. If you look at the upper left with the upper right, DMOs at the local level, the public sector, 8.5% of you. And then national governments, about 17%. So combined, about 26% of you are in the public sector. And then the industry is scattered through hospitality, and OTAs, online travel agencies, consultants, and so forth. So it's quite a diverse group of attendees. So if it's less than 3%, it got pushed into the other category. So tremendous variety of participants that come to us and utilize the criteria in a variety of ways. So if the starting point about our work is the criteria, and certification is one of the things we do, here's one of the things we really want to emphasize even more strongly about our activities, because we believe that using the criteria as the basis for teaching sustainability is very effective. To get a holistic view of sustainability, training is essential, and we've put more and more emphasis on it. We've had the first program on the upper left for many years, about 11 years, and that's a program that's really been designed sort of for managers, leaders that want a broader view of sustainability. We teach the essence of the destination criteria for the public sector and the essence of industry criteria for the private sector, and that's been very successful. It's got an exam, it's a certificate program, but we've really moved on in the last few years to have far more practical training for people working inside hotels and for tour operators, and we do all of this on site, we do it online, and a very rich program. So If you're not familiar, take a good look at our website and follow the page on our website to learn more about these programs. We do a tremendous amount of customization for businesses, for municipalities, and so forth. Very, very flexible system. We're doing it now in 17 languages. 17 languages, and that can grow. That's usually supported. We usually add languages as part of some development program or business steps forward, you know, that provide the resources, and then we're keen to do that. So if you want a language relevant to you, we'd love to hear from you to take action to move in that direction. I want to talk about, we've been talking more and more recently about this concept of pathways to sustainability. You know, when we first started, from our very beginning, we said to ourselves, our role is to really promote holistic sustainability based on the 4 pillars, that it's not just about the environment, it's not just about greenhouse gases, it's a holistic view of sustainability. And I think we were a little bit, as an organization and the community, I would say, maybe we were a little bit unrealistic to say that people could get there to holistic quickly. It is a challenge. Holistic is hard. If it was easy, maybe we wouldn't be using 1.7% of the world's resources today as humanity. We've got challenges across the board in humanity, not just on greenhouse gases, but on plastics, on waste, on social issues, community impacts, and so forth. So we've really kind of come around to really talking more about staging things. So we're really, to a large degree, inspired and learned from our experience of our friends in Turkey with a very strong national program on hospitality of taking things stage by stage. So we're going to start more strongly promoting with the WTTC. They have a starter kit for hotels called the WTTC Basics. They're now developing a Basics Plus that they'll have ready probably in Q3 of next year. That's just one possible pathway. I ask you to look at this screen as a sample of a type of structure you could put in your own business, in your municipality, in your province, in your national government, and give some guidance and suggestions for progress. It has to start with training. People ask me all the time, how do I get certified sustainable? And I say, first of all, become highly sustainable. Then we'll talk about the technical things, right? Let's get our staff trained, let's improve our business practices, and then let's think about a badge. The badge should come at the end. Let's make it mean something. And to take it in stages, we believe very much. I'm going to talk a little bit more later about, or a similar approach on those stages, about what different options there might be. But I just want to introduce the concept here first of, if you take it in stages on the column on the left of the number of attributes you're working on, you know, first work on low-hanging fruit, something that you can reasonably do quickly, celebrate some victories, take on carbon and other greenhouse gases as soon as possible, right? We've got a major crisis in the world, but prioritize the attributes. But then the other column, level of assurance, this is very important, and it's related to something that I think the entire industry is greatly challenged with today that none of us really fully appreciated until we got deeper into moving towards transitioning the economies. The very idea of measurement and gathering data and reporting is not easy. And we don't really have the skill sets, we don't have the universal tools, we have a lot of work to do as an industry. So we at GSTC are working very closely now with the likes of WTTC, in hospitality with the World Sustainable Hospitality Alliance, with Travelist, the roll-up of many online travel agencies, really looking at them on data collection and measurement. ESG reporting in the industry is diverse, and we think the GSTC criteria could be a good foundation for ESG reporting, because if you start by training your staff and your whole framework based on the criteria, why not report against it? So anyway, the whole business of gathering data, measuring, reporting, and then verifying with external review of some kind of verification could lead to a high level of verification through our accredited certification, but start lower. Start with self-assessments and start with some kind of verification and take it all in progress. So again, I think what we've learned as an organization, that as difficult it is to add all the attributes, it's also difficult to develop the skill set to measure, collect data, report, and verify. So it all really needs to be stages. So this is just a sample. We just encourage you to think about this for your organization, whether you're in the private sector, public sector, whatever. Our experience now, years of talking to people all over the world, seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work, some kind of staging, some kind of stepwise program, we think is the way to go. We've had, I'm sorry, let me just, okay, sorry. I do need to go back. Well, I had the screen, I'm not sure how to go back. I thought I've used this one before. Let's go back one slide. It is that button, okay. Back one. Okay, so this is a topic I need to spend a minute with because this has been an issue that's created a great deal of confusion and misunderstanding about the work that we do. So let me talk about it. When we were created and created the criteria in the first place, our founders wanted very much to move the market, move the industry away from looking at sustainability purely as environmental issues and follow the 4 pillars, include social issues, follow the GSTC criteria, which follows the UN Foundation, the foundational work of UN definitions. So we created a program called GSTC Recognized Standards. And from the start, it was intended to push the market towards the 4 pillars. And so it was a mark to reward or identify a program that did include the 4 pillars, that wasn't just a few environmental things, that it was holistic and matched the criteria. That's all it ever was intended to be, and that's all it ever was. But then over time, when there was a need to kind of filter all the different programs out there, it became more used and misunderstood, and we had programs that would be defined or described by others or themselves as, say, the program was GSTC recognized, as if we put some kind of mark on their audit process or on their certification process. We did not. This was simply a program to look at the words in their standard. That's all it was. As OTAs, Booking.com, and Traveloka and others were really looking at all of this space and trying to figure out how to put some marks on, they would use those entities that had a recognized standard thinking, well, they're rather serious, right? So there's somebody else we can use. But the whole program became associated and believed to be some kind of mark that we placed on the program. And it wasn't. And so now we're really looking very hard at making some changes, and I'm going to come back to that topic after Mihee comes on stage now and takes you through some technical aspects of our program, and then I'm going to speak more about where we're going with this. We changed the eligibility for this program starting January 1st, and there's a fair amount of confusion about that, and we want to clarify some of those things. So I'm going to come back to that topic. So Mihee, please come and talk to us about our accreditation program, and then I'll come back on and continue from there. Mihee Kang.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it is a good morning. I'm delighted to talk about GSTC accreditation. We hardly talked about our accreditation's details on the stage, so I take this opportunity with honor. Before moving further, I wonder how many people in this room understand clearly the difference between certification and accreditation. Look at my eyes. Oh yeah, even the raise the hand, I know. Yes, I can see about 123 people are slightly confused. So let me start with definitions. Go. Certification means third-party attestation related to product, processes, systems, or persons, while accreditation is a third-party attestation related to conformity assessment body, that is a certification body. Based on these ISO definition, GSTC defined GSTC certification and accreditation meanings. Let's see. Let me start with GSTC accreditation. This is GSTC's attestation of certification bodies' confidence in certifying tourism businesses or destinations against the GSTC criteria or GSTC recognized standard. It's long. We have several participants from GSTC accredited certification bodies. Who came from the accredited certification bodies? Raise a hand. Oh, we had many, but okay. So we have a total of 11 certification bodies. They were accredited by us and then conduct GSTC certification. GSTC certification means these accredited certification bodies attestation that a tour operator, a hotel, or a destination meets the GSTC sustainability requirements written in GSTC criteria. I'm sure we have here participants from certified destinations, certified hotels, and tour operators. Raise your hands. Who are from the certified businesses? Only a few? Congratulations. They got certificate from not GSTC, but GSTC accredited certification bodies. Why GSTC accreditation? Why? Because GSTC accreditation creates trust. When we assess the certification bodies, we apply ISO 17065, which is international requirements for certification bodies who certify product, process, or services. And also we apply tourism-specific requirements set by GSTC. All aspects included in the assessment are important, but we make sure the impartiality of certification bodies. Certification bodies are not your friends. They are not certification agency to help tour operators, hotels, or destinations to meet the requirement to get certified. Maintaining a strict separation between certification and consulting services is essential. So don't ask certification bodies to provide consulting service. That's a violation. GSTC accreditation creates quality. Our intensive assessment and ongoing monitoring of certification bodies forces certification bodies to take a rigorous process in their certification process and surveillance audits. As a result, both accredited certification bodies and certified businesses and destinations uphold their the high quality standard and also continually improve themselves. But how could you trust the quality in accreditation and certification? We already announced this the last April. GSTC is a member of Inter-American Accreditation Cooperation. IAAC is a regional accreditation group member of IAF, International Accreditation Forum. As GSTC is registered in the USA, we applied our membership to IAAC. So IAAC and their members reviewed our accreditation program and accepted us as the associate member. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to announce that GSTC is now IAF member. Yay! It's only 1 week before we officially registered as a member. IAF and its 120 plus members reviewed our certification scheme and agreed to accept us as association member. Our membership with IAAC as accreditation body, our membership of IAF as scheme owner, provide the credibility of our certification and accreditation. So you can trust us. But we are not gonna end our journey. We always happy to get the review by external body. We are the ISIL community member, but now we are working on ISIL code compliant membership. ISIL provide code for standard setting, assurance, and impact. GSTC manages criteria development and revision following our standard setting manual, which was developed based on ISIL code. We continually measure our impact following GSTC monitoring and evaluation system, which was also developed based on ISIL code. We published our impact report 2023 early this year, and then we will do the same for 2024. Especially this year, we focus on our impact of hotel certification. So we will share the result of our impact, the survey, the analysis, the early next year. Now, we are going to demonstrate our rigorous assurance programs, which include recognition and accreditation. GSTC accreditation provides opportunity to accredited certification bodies and also the certified businesses and destination. Because GSTC accreditation and certification have gained significant recognition in tourism market recent years. We believe that's because of our transparent, rigorous, and impartial approaches. But this is also offer the consumers and the B2B businesses more choices. EU Green Claims Directive has been a hot topic. Everybody is discussing it. The main requirement is all green claims must be based on scientific evidence. And those evidence must be verified by accredited verifiers. According to EU regulation number 765, all certification bodies located in EU member states must be accredited by national accreditation bodies. To comply with this, GSTC has been collaborating with Accredia, Italian accreditation national accreditation body, to accredit certification bodies in Italy since October 2023. To expand our collaboration with other EU member states, we are taking our process through European Cooperation for Accreditation. We aim to share the result in several months. We also revising our industry criteria covering hotels and tour operators. As you know, EU has eco labels, and then it includes hospitality certification. Recently, when we started the revision of our industry criteria, we had a gap analysis to comply with also EU requirement. And from tomorrow, we will start the second public consultation on the revision of industry criteria, and we also have a workshop. So please join public consultation and on-site the workshop to provide your input to have a better criteria. As you know, we have the new criteria, MICE criteria, and attraction criteria, and then we are developing the criteria for food service providers. So accordingly, we are working on the developing accreditation manuals. In the process of development, we will engage all the stakeholders, and we look forward to your active participation in making the better certification, good accreditation. Now I will give stage back to Randy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mihee, and my promise will keep to you, no quiz, but I think it's important for you to know the strong foundation of technical aspects and the fact that we're an open book, because we believe that if a business or destination opens their heart and soul and practices to somebody for external verification, the verification body should open their books and hearts and soul and process for verification. This industry has tolerated something called certification for about 30 years with no external review until we came along and created accreditation in 2016. So I hope you understand the value of that upward movement from the bottom to the top. And so we're very proud of all that. It's become a little bit more of what we're known for because there's so many distractions because it's so new and radical to the industry. But we want to be known for applying the criteria all the way through the process, and someday maybe that'll all settle down. These zero tolerance elements of our program have been in place, but we haven't really kind of shouted this out. But this already exists in our program for our accredited certification. There's zero tolerance on these particular issues. Unnecessary single-use plastics you cannot get a certificate. We will continue to choose rigor in our program over scale, and we appreciate the likes of STB and all of our friends here in Singapore for supporting that and recording and honoring that. So I want to go back to this issue a little bit very briefly on the whole business of the recognized standard and our accreditation and all the identity about that. And this concept that we're moving gradually, but we're picking up speed on shifting from a system with our accredited certification from more of a process-based system to more of a performance-based approach. What do I mean by that? Our program originally had to be highly process-based, based on largely on continuous improvement, and very subjective in analyzing a very small hotel or a business in a place where there's no recycling available. We can't judge them so harshly based on their ability to do as well as a place, maybe in a more urban setting or whatever, on different elements of criteria. So the program does have some subjectivity. You know, the auditors have some reasonable maneuver to say they're doing the best they can given the circumstances available. So it's a system based on continuous improvement with a 3-year renewal cycle that the auditor should come back, the new audit cycle should say, you need to do better. But we're able now to shift a little bit more to a performance-based approach. And I do not want you to say, this is like black and white, right? This is a tendency and a movement along a line. And the reason I want to talk about it is that because I mentioned earlier, the shortage of universal tools for measurement and data collection and reporting is starting to change. And we don't work in that space directly, but we're very close to it. So we're working now, if you noticed just weeks ago, Travelist, I've mentioned that before, if you're not familiar, I was just in New York with them celebrating their 5th anniversary. Prince Harry used the power of his celebrity to bring together several OTAs and GDS systems to work together non-competitively on sustainability. And they announced, and this is Google Travel, Booking.com, Trip.com, Expedia, Amadeus, and giants of distribution and data collection in the industry. They're going to work non-competitively on sustainable measurement data. And we're starving for the data. So that will allow us, everything in our whole ecosystem, to be more performance-based because it's all moving in that direction. So I think we're going to see great improvements on universal tools for measurement and reporting in the next 5 years. And that's very exciting because we've really, to a large degree as an industry and globally, been operating largely in the dark. And on hospitality alone, the World Sustainable Hospitality Alliance is on board, WTTC is on board, GBTA, the Global Business Travel Association, is all on board. The 5 of us have agreed to work together on this and use each other's systems and tools. So we're in a period of transition, and it's very exciting. So that's that. So in our remaining minutes, let's move on and talk a little bit about the conference. So we've developed these themes. We always have tracks for public sector because of our many public sector participants. So that's always a big part of it. And we add specific themes. And being in Singapore, urban tourism is is an issue, and sustainable hospitality is operating in a big way here, so those two themes are here. But looking across integration across the value chain, and always we like to work on preserving cultural heritage and communities. So we have other topics in our breakouts and topics, but they're organized to some degree along these lines. You're all experts, aren't you? Most of you could be on stage in a breakout, and those of you who have attended our conferences before have heard me say this. We take great pride in putting together a very practitioner-based small panel. We limit our panels and our breakouts to just 4 people. And it's people who are really practitioners. And then we put in every room one of our staff to help curate Slido so we can get true audience participation. And what we've designed our breakouts to be interactive activities. And we've received really high marks in the past for that. So we absolutely insist on quality Q&A time and engagement. We want all of our breakouts and all of our activities here for the next 2 days to really be inclusive and interactive. So, and we ask the panelists to really talk about real solutions to common challenges and have the humility to talk about what failed and what we can learn from that, and all that time for Q&A. Also visit our sponsor tables out here. We'll flash those on the screen a little bit. But let's introduce you to Slido. Many of you have used this or other similar apps for conferences, so kindly get the QR code queued up. We're going to use this throughout today and tomorrow for all this interaction. It's very important. So please go to slido.com and then find the GSTC 2024 Singapore. And then when you get there, please register. Create a profile very quickly in the, I think it's in the upper right. Yeah, in the upper right, select to create a profile so you're not anonymous, and that helps, so do that right away. And it also helps because we're going to have a giveaway. So among the most active participants in Slido, we'll have a prize for activity. So we need you to create your profile so we can see who you are, which just helps the moderator the moderators will all have an iPad and they can be watching this easily too, but one of our staff will be in the room to help curate that to really make the Slido come alive. So just one more quickly, if you didn't get this already, quickly the QR code to get in there, and then do the profile. And let's do a warm-up question just to get the juices flowing here. So find the poll, hopefully you're there, and tell us, is your company doing enough on sustainability both internally and with your supply chain? Yes or no? Or you don't want to talk about it? I usually come across as too serious. I like to throw a little levity and lightheartedness. Yes or no? I think there's only one correct answer. Humility is a good thing. Oh, you're all doing enough, 48% of you. I don't think you are. Just think about your supply chain. Wow. Okay, so now we know how to use it. Oh, we do have people hiding, or else just showing their sense of humor. Sitting next to your boss. Okay, so we're going to use Slido, and that really helps with the interactivity of our event. So let's move on from the screen, please. That was just for fun and to get things going. So again, Slido activism could win you a free registration to one of our training courses. Then also a social media giveaway. There'll be a random drawing from those postings that use our hashtag in various social media. There it is, #GSTC2024Singapore is consistent across the board through all the social media. So please talk about us, and there will be a lucky winner. I want to thank our sponsors, our ongoing the organizers for the event, of course, ourselves, STB. It's just been such a great pleasure working with STB for several years now. And then event partner Unearth Productions is supporting. Main conference sponsors. Thank you, Sentosa Development Corporation and Resorts World Sentosa, for your tremendous hosting, sponsorship. We appreciate it tremendously. We're so happy to be here and help tell your story. And so our official venue partner then is Resorts World Sentosa. And we also are trying to run as green as possible. Roy always forces you to have some vegetarian meals. And we have pretty simple lanyards and all that. And we're trying to do as much carbon offsetting as possible. So thank you, Giannis and Green Evolution, for the carbon calculation. And thank all of you for being as green as possible and using public transportation and so forth while you're here. Last evening, thank you again to our friends at 115 Marina for the dinner sponsorship at the opening last evening. It was a lovely evening. Thank you very much. And our final dinner tomorrow evening will be thanks to the people at the Village and Hotel Sentosa. So thanks to those sponsors. Additional conference sponsors, our good friends at Booking.com and Klook have been tremendous supporters to us in other ways, and we thank them for their support here at this conference. And the exhibitors would have tables outside are these brands. And we try to give long enough breaks. Oh, I've already cutting into that time. My time is up. We try to give long enough breaks for networking, visit the tables, enjoy learning about these wonderful people, what's going on. And thanks to these media partners for this event that you see on the screen. Thank you very much to them. They're in person, floating around, and we thank them for their participation. And our ongoing sponsors on a regular basis, Traveloka, for their deep support as a platinum sponsor. And we have these gold sponsors, Turkia's TGA, Visit Sweden, and Fiji. So we thank all of these ongoing sponsors, separate from the conference. These are 2024 sponsors. So Roy, do we need you on stage for some housekeeping? So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy the 2 days.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Mihee. And now we will have a refreshment break until 11:30. We need to eat and drink a little bit. So enjoy the refreshment break, and we will see you here in 45 minutes. That's 11:30. See you soon.